Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Black Butler, Chapter 144. We last left off, Lizzie had made her big return to reveal that our Ciel has been lying about being Ciel for the past 3 years, and that the real Ciel is the real Ciel. Meanwhile, Scotland Yard has been investigating the Phantom Hive Manor, and they found a bunch of the blood from Sphere Music Hall in our Ciel's basement, as well as Blavat, who frames our Ciel for being Lord Sirius, even though we all know that it's the real Ciel. Um, and Fred Aberline, the bump up in Sphere Music Hall murders after the rise of Phantom is brought into question, and Fred Aberline knows why that is, but he can't say anything because of the rank and file can't know about Ciel being the Queen's watchdog. So that's where we left off, with Ciel being framed as the prime suspect in the Sphere Music Hall murders. And before we begin the chapter proper, I'd like to remind everyone I have my Fall 2018 Anime Review straw poll in the description, so go on that, fill it out, let me know what you want to see me review for next season. But yeah, now moving on to the chapter proper, chapter 144, The Butler Under Arrest. We see this heartbreaking picture of real Ciel and Lizzie skipping off as our Ciel is, led away by a butler. Wow. And then we cut back right where we left off with Fred Aberline talking to our Ciel. Earl Phantom Hive. No. Mr. Phantom Hive. You are the prime suspect in the Sphere Music Hall serial murders. As such, we would like you to accompany us to the yard. And everyone looks on, based on their various reactions to this. Fred is a little bit pissed off that he has to do this. The servants are in various states of shock. Real Ciel looks he doesn't really look like anything. He just kind of is staring down. And our Ciel clenches his fist very well. You're always with him, and he turns to Sebastian. So we'll have you too. As you wish. Then if you'll excuse me, and he gets out handcuffs and cuffs our Ciel. We'll hear your side of the story down at the yard. And Finney speaks up. No, please, wait! The young master would never do such a thing. There must be some mistake. And Baldroy holds back Finian. Baldo? So, who do we get our wages from now? Wow, Baldroy. Now just a minute. Is this really the time to be haggling over money? Says Emily. Oh, Snake. Good old Snake. As you can see, I'm afraid your pay will have to wait. Come and collect it later. And Sebastian just, walks away. Now move! And the Scotland Yard guys with Blavat. Ow! Why am I the only one getting rough treatment? The three of them are all herded into the police carriage as the door shuts behind them and clanks and latches shut. And the carriage rides away towards Scotland Yard. Young master, the servants all watch. That reminds me, what were you two up to? What were you two up to? And he turns around, huh? Where'd the redhead and the chap in the lab coat go? They stood out like sore thumbs. When did they run off? They couldn't have gone far. Find them. Oh, you're not going to win that one, Fred. Because there is no way they're going to catch some Shinigami like that. And then Alexis turns to the real Ciel. Ciel, won't you first explain to us what's been going on? Certainly. Tonica, show my uncle into the drawing room. And some fresh tea, if you please. Yes, sir. And Elizabeth, go home. Do you have any idea how worried we were for you? I'm sorry. Father. Edward. But, and Real Ciel comes up to, Lizzie. Lizzie, I'm fine now. I'm sure Aunt Frances is sick with worry over you. Yes. Edward, return home with your sister. Yes. And they both kind of go into the carriage. There are lots of yeses going on right now. And they ride away. Lizzie hangs her head dejectedly, and Edward just kind of looks at her, concerned. Well, I'm glad you're safe. You sure you're not hurt? Yes. So, Lizzie, why didn't you tell us Ciel was alive? And Lizzie's eyes just cloud over. Lizzie? I didn't know what to do. See, I hadn't noticed. Huh? I never realized Ciel wasn't really Ciel. I went on and on about how I'd become his bride someday, and how much I loved him, but I couldn't even tell that he wasn't the real Ciel. If the real Ciel had never returned, I would have carried on not knowing, and we see like her images of like her future self as like a older teenager and as a bride and as an old woman. I would have carried on not knowing and married the imposter. And I probably would have become a grandmother without ever realizing he wasn't who I thought he was. I wonder why I didn't notice. I thought I loved Ciel dearly. And Edward just like goes eyes wide. No. On occasion I must have felt a pang of doubt. But I never believed for a moment that the boy who came back wasn't Ciel. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything behind the particular pictures we're shown. If there's anything... Oh, we see his coughing fit during the escape through the Campagna. There must have been like a clue, because it's actually asthma, but he pretends that it's just water. When like the real Ciel did not have asthma. But anyway, the thing is, when the real Ciel returned, even before thinking, I'm so happy he's back. And we see the moment where she first sees the real Ciel in like a toga hooked up with all these like intravenous drips. I thought, even before thinking, I'm so happy he's back, I thought, now what? I mean, how was I supposed to face him? I couldn't tell the difference between my beloved and his twin. Oh, how I accused Ciel's imposter deep down. How cruel! Why did you deceive me? I'm sure you were silently mocking me the entire time. The foolish girl who couldn't even tell apart her fiancé from another man just because they share a face. You liar! So there's something about these panels right here, as their like faces are shadowed out, that really reminds me of like Revolutionary Girl Utena. Like a lot of the ways the Prince scenes are shown in Utena. I don't know, it's just a random thing I noticed. But then, I realized that it was I who was even crueler. And Edward looks up. If it hadn't been Ciel who came back 3 years ago, would I have been as happy? And Edward's eyes just go wide. I'm not sure I could have said something like, I'm glad at least you've returned to us alive, and meant it. If he hadn't lied. I wish Ciel had survived instead. Such a heartless thought might have popped into my head, and she just breaks down crying, head in her hands. I never wanted to know just how awful a person I am. Somehow I knew that Ciel and the Undertaker were up to no good. But if Ciel died again, So now both she and Edward know that real Ciel is the one behind it all. And she just runs to her brother to embrace him. Young Master Edward. Edward flashes back to his scene with the maid, way back at the beginning of the arc, probably in 2014 at this point. If something you held most dear suddenly shattered one day, what would you do? And Edward realizes the meaning of those words as Lizzie cries in his arms. And he holds her tight. Dear God, what a terrible ordeal you've tasked my sister with. Since I was little, I've always loved Ciel. I believed that my love for him was true, but that love itself was a lie. Neither you nor my love are real. To be continued. Alright. Once again, chapter was pretty short. The content we got was not exactly plot progression, but a lot of character progression for Lizzie. As we really, Lizzie's been through a lot in the past couple dozen chapters, and it's time that she sits back and really sorts out all of her thoughts on the entire universe at this point. Because, her entire worldview has kind of revolved around Ciel. And to find out that who she thought was Ciel was not Ciel is, it literally shatters her. We see several images of her, her lower body is, made of glass and just shattering away. On page 15. Which is a really nice image, not gonna lie. So while I do wish I wish Yana would give us some more plot progression because the plot moves super slowly. It is nice that we're actually seeing some meaningful character, not necessarily development, but more character, I can't think of the right word. Explanation, character expansion from Lizzie. Seeing how exactly, just a chapter to really break down how the fuck Lizzie's feeling about all this. I feel in a monthly series that's a little bit too little to do for a whole month. But you know what? I love Lizzie enough that I'm more than down for this chapter. And just seeing her total breakdown over how little she knew anything is really heart-wrenching to see. And as she realizes that, like, she would not have cared if our Ciel had died. If she had thought real Ciel had died. She would have not cared about RCL coming back at all. She would have been, like, angry at him. And, like, honestly, she didn't care that that she thought RCL had died the whole time. Whatever the fuck his name is. But yeah. Apart from that, we see, RCL, Sebastian, and Blavat are carried away. I imagine there's going to be some words spoken between them next month, because we can't leave them on the back burner too long. Also, this last shot, the last couple pages are, Lizzie monologuing and getting us into the context of their relationship as we see Sebastian and Ciel again. Really makes me think what RCL thinks of what he's done to Lizzie. Lizzie says that she thinks that RCL was, like, silently mocking her the whole time. I don't think that's true. I think he actually does genuinely care for her. Even if it was just, like, a way to keep up the lie of being the real Ciel at the beginning, I think over the 3 years since everything has happened, he's definitely developed to the point where he does have genuine feelings for Lizzie. Even if it's just in his normal, like, murderer kind of way. But you know what? This is some good Lizzie shit. I do wish there was more, I get that, like, Yana clearly puts a shit ton of time into the art. Every panel of this series is gorgeous, but, like, I think if Yana, like, made it, 10 or 20% less gorgeous every month, we get a lot more plot every month. But when the series is eventually done, I imagine it'll be much better on rereading. All my pacing problems will mostly go away. I don't think there'll be a lot of forgiving that 12-chapter long flashback into that was barely had any relevant shit at all. But shit like this will be much better on when you have the whole series in front of you. So take all my pacing complaints with a grain of salt. But yeah, that's chapter 144. I enjoyed it. It was not the best thing the series has ever given us, but it was a nice view into Lizzie's head for a month. And yeah, I dig it. I'm glad that it seems that we were pretty much done with dealing with the immediate repercussions of Lizzie for now. I imagine her mental state will continue to be important to her character for the rest of the series, given the shit that's happened to her right now. But next month, back to the plot. Blavat and Ciel and Sebastian, they have some shit to take care of in the way to Scotland Yard. So yeah, I'll leave this video up here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Fill out that straw poll in the description. Or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't really care. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!